Hello everyone, welcome back to Sharp Cuts. My name is Garrett May alongside Josh Nickel. As always, we've got an extra special episode for you today. I mean, I say that every time. Is it really ever special, Josh? I don't know. But today we've got guest Eli Rizzo. Thank you so much for joining us, Eli. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Well, you're being really nice now. We'll see how you feel at the end of the episode because this is Sharp Cuts. We like to get sharp. But there is a few things we need to start off with, Josh, because there's been some newsworthy things. So, Eli, you're going to have to wait before we get into some of this discussion because we have a few things to note. And I don't know if you can maybe guess them, Josh. Can you just read my mind with what we're about to go through here?
Well, my surprise of the episode is this is episode 48, Garrett, and every time you go, hello, everybody, I think I'm entering like a Yes Guy Gaming video. I thought you were going to say, welcome to Yes Guy Gaming instead of Sharp Cuts. I got to get used to that. But like, we're 48 episodes in, and I fall for it every time.
I thought about it, and when I was doing Yes Guy videos, I also say Sharp Cuts. So, I mean,
Nice.
it's the announcer voice. You can't get rid of it. But no, we are on Sharp Cuts. You are listening to Sharp Cuts. Thank you for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, all that great stuff. Anyways, so a few cool things to talk about. It was recently International Women's Day, and what better way to celebrate and talk about and celebrate women excellence but three men on a volleyball talk show. So, I mean, kudos to us for really nailing that one completely, Josh. Thumbs up to us. We'll get to some more of that. But big news in the beach scene. Heather Bansley has officially retired from the sport of volleyball, and I think we all owe her a round of applause. Congratulations, Heather. I don't know if she's listening or not. Probably not. But congrats on an amazing career. I'm sad to see you go, to be honest, because I thought you still had another quad try in you. But well-deserved retirement, and hopefully you find something nice to do after volleyball, because we all know that's a tough time, Josh.
Is that a shot at me? You know she's now an assistant coach with the national team. Like, she's working with me every day. So I'm glad you're encouraging her to maybe find something she's passionate about because you don't think it's it right now.
I'll pretend that I knew that was the case just to maybe bury you a little bit, but I did not know that. Congrats, Heather, on being assistant to Josh. You probably deserve to be the head coach.
Probably. And we can spread rumors on the show, Garrett. Like, I think usually when athletes retire, it's because they're injured, or maybe there's like a mean coach who's cutting them and telling them they're not good enough. Heather played amazing at the Olympics. She's had like a really good career. Maybe she's coming back eventually, Garrett. I'm just going to plant that rumor right now that, like, I don't know if she's done or not. Like, usually when somebody leaves, it's like the very end. They just don't fade into the darkness like, well, you did, really.
I'm going to have secret conversations with Heather about her and I making our return somehow. Just both of us on a blockbuster day coming back. But we better be good, which there's no guarantee.
Can we get the exclusive on that when you finally decide to come back?
Yeah, like if Sharp Guts doesn't have the exclusive coverage of that, I don't know what the hell we're doing, John. So congrats, Heather, on that. Eli, I don't know if you follow the show. So, I mean, he's just sitting here going like, what the hell are these guys talking about, by the way? Just getting bored out of his mind. I can see him there. But thanks for your patience. We also have to let everybody know that we found Kerry Gagnon, and he is back. He is alive and well, and things are going well. Kind of had to let us know that, yeah, like he's got just life stuff. Like he has stuff to do other than just follow our show. So, I mean, sorry for Kerry for calling you up, but he's back to commenting and giving us guests for the show. So hopefully we can take advantage of that. So thank you, Kerry. Welcome back. I know everybody was worried about that.
I certainly was. And stop apologizing to Eli because he offered to come on the show. We're 1 for 1 this week on getting a guest, Garrett, because he reached out.
You blew it by telling everybody immediately what the number was. We usually save that for the end on Eli, but okay. Let's get into it because Eli, it was an exciting week this past week for you because there was a lot of games happening midweek. And I'm trying to find the schedule. I'm trying to look up what the hell's going on to see what's happening in the U Sport playoffs. And I can't really figure out what the hell happened, but I know that it maybe wasn't good for you.
I mean, not the outcome we would have wanted, that's for sure. But I mean, as a volleyball head, like I think we did 9 games in 16 days, and I mean, besides my body hurting a bunch, but we enjoyed it, man. That was a great test for everybody. I don't know. I wouldn't have changed it at the end of the day, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, and I think because you can't really trust the Can West site, Josh. We've been through this before, and we'll maybe cover it again on this show. You can't really trust these sites right now. But it seems like you had 3 5-setters in this pool system in 3 days. That's got to be an insane sequence of events for your team to go through.
Yeah, man. Honestly, it was definitely riding the roller coaster a little bit emotionally too, right? Coming from, we lost by 2 in the fifth UFC, and then coming back and then winning by 2 in the fifth against Winnipeg, and then obviously the Manitoba game didn't quite go the way we would have liked at the end. But yeah, we definitely got the most out of the playoffs for sure. Way to maximize our touches.
We've done a terrible job of introducing you. Eli plays libero for UBCO. I had that correct, right? Like, do we have the right Eli Rizzo here on the show?
We have the correct one, Garrett. And if you look at his stat line, it wasn't unusual. I think it was against Fraser Valley. You threw up like 20 digs. Like, there were some big games this year.
Yeah, definitely a couple. I think my team did a really good job of just funneling the ball to me once in a while. I think it's definitely just a byproduct of good blocking for sure. They make it easy. We got a big team, so generally speaking, anytime it's funneled to me, it's pretty nice.
Well, I think it needs to be said. I mean, congrats on a great season. Sorry. I mean, sorry that the season is over. You guys gave it an effort. It seems like I'm just bugging Josh because last episode he said he hates it when people say congrats on a great season / career for people. So congrats on a great season, Eli.
Speaking of that, Garrett, because of the COVID year, all these senior nights, they're bringing back people who actually graduated, but they didn't get like theirs. So now they're coming back, and it's just recycling these posts of like, congrats on a great career, but they didn't play this year. So now you're looking at stats from like way before. I think we're just way too inclusive of what we call like a great career, an inspiration, all this stuff. Like everybody gets a social media post when some people are just average, Garrett, and I think we have to accept that.
Well, I think you should shut up and get on right now a post about Eli and how he had a great season. And I mean, we should applaud him. What are you talking about? Like, come on, let's go. Did you guys do that at UBCO? Have the seniors who didn't get a chance to do the senior thing when they graduated come back?
No, man, we didn't do that. I thought that was really weird, though. Like, I don't know what kind of recruiting stuff that is. I don't agree with it either. Like, I don't know. If you ask me, like, especially as an away team, like, the only thing that does is cuts into your warm-up anyway. Like, I don't need an extra 5 guys with a speech talking about how they just spent a year off working or something like that. Like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that is a bit awkward, Josh. Like, the seniors' night is already a bit awkward, especially if it's a tense game. Like, it's an important game, the last game of the season. It's a bit awkward, like, you got this huge presentation for guys who are graduating, and then it's like, no, you got to play. And I can't imagine the guys coming back who've just been off doing whatever for a year being like, yeah, it's been what do they say? Oh, it's been a really tough year without volleyball. I don't know.
Did you guys get speeches? I was at U of T, friend of the show, Sophia Courier. She was there, and I went to her senior game. She didn't get to speak. It was said like right in the rules that we weren't allowed to interact with her till like after the game. Like there was no picture with her parents like before the game. Like it was pretty like the U of T game, Garrett. There's like rope all around the court. Like the normal fans weren't allowed to interact with the players.
Did your guys get a speech at UBCO?
We had people speak for us, but I don't. No one grabbed the mic or anything like that. Maybe it's just a Canada West thing where we just kind of have other people speak. Or normally it's the coaches that drone on for a long time. They get a little sappy with it.
Yeah, we had that too at Western, but Jim kept it real nice and short because he didn't. Yeah, like whatever, get out of here. He wanted everybody to come back for a 5th year, so he wasn't being too nice, especially after the 4th year guys.
Not closing the door completely.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so you guys, I was trying to wrap my head around this, trying to do some prep for the show, Josh, which is a bit unusual for me. But
rare.
Trying to wrap my head around
here.
like
I've heard it's a bit rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. But I attempted this time, and I will never try it again because it just doesn't work. Like I can't execute it properly because I'm trying to prep what the heck's going on in this Can West pool system, and I have no idea what the hell's going on. Like. You guys have 3 pools, so what is that like? You're jumping in there, you're playing in a pool situation in a playoff situation? What the hell's going on?
How did you prepare for the game plan? Because you had a game Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like, are you even paying attention to the Saturday game, like the lead into practice? Like, how are you game planning for 3 different games?
Honestly, it's pretty much you kind of just try and take it one at a time. You take your Thursday, then your Friday, and after the game, you really don't really watch the video on. Especially as a libero, it's not really a ton to watch unless you're trying to watch yourself. But, I think it's kind of your better serve, probably prepping for the next serving group and that sort of stuff anyway. So, at least on my end, it was definitely just let it go, try and forget about it, get a good night's sleep, and then just right back to just video and prep and that sort of stuff. But definitely less envious of the setters because I feel like those guys got a lot more late nights watching video. They got to stay up, see what they did right and wrong offensively. That's no fun.
Interesting. So it sounds like people take it seriously.
Sometimes, only sometimes. Depends on
Which
who
is
you ask. I
foreign to me.
suppose.
It's a foreign concept for me watching video, like, and it does seem weird. Like, you prepare for a full week, maybe not a full week because you played 9 games in 16 days. So for maybe 4 or 5 days, you have to prepare for the first match, and then you have literally hours to prepare for the next match. I guess you do know who you're playing in what order, though.
That's true. And did you guys fly or were you on a bus? There's a lot of dead time on the bus. You could have been watching video.
Definitely, we flew, but the one thing that had happened in the week is that
Big budget, Garrett. Big budget.
Oh man, yeah, they budgeted for COVID this year. We were really thankful, especially with the floods. We were originally supposed to bus, and we actually got upgraded to flying. So
I'm jealous. We don't have that kind of budget here on Sharp Cuts, so don't be expecting any nice treatment here.
You guys won't be flying me out anytime soon for an in-person, or
definitely not. And there'll be no shirts or no participation, anything like
no merch,
no per diem, no nothing.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, sorry. Did Josh promise you like a coffee or something? Because it's not coming.
No chance.
God.
We ended up with, like, the reason why we weren't able to prep for the 3 games up ahead was because on Monday at like noon we found out that there was something going on with one of the teams in our pool where they had, I mean, I'm not too sure how much I can really speak on it in detail, but basically one of the teams in our pool, well, I don't know, I'm not trying to call anybody out, at least from, I don't know what's out there and what's not, but one of the players from another one of our teams in our pool played ineligibly for the second semester and ended up having to forfeit a bunch of the games in the second semester, which kind of led us to a situation where if both teams were able to switch their flights and switch their tickets to where they were going, then we would have been able to bump up a seed. And so at the time, we didn't really know if we were going to play UFV, U of A, or U of S, or if we were going to go to UW, U of C, U of M. So we didn't find out until Wednesday at noon where we were going.
And when was your
game? I didn't
game?
know there was the extra layer to that. Their game was on Thursday night, Garrett. So this is public. Like, we're not throwing anybody under the bus here. Like, UBC used an ineligible player, and Canada West stripped them of those wins, Garrett. But they kept the playoff draw the same. And it sounds like all the teams that it affected didn't get confirmation until Wednesday. 1, where they were going, but 2, who they were playing.
What a mess. So
yeah, it was definitely not great.
You not only had no time to, like, you didn't know who you were playing because you knew who you, like, you might have even thought, oh, they're going to adjust their record and switch the seeds, so we're going to actually play this group.
Like, we're going to go to Edmonton and we're going to play this group instead. Now we're going to Winnipeg and we're playing this group. Like, total shuffle of the deck.
Yeah, and definitely 3 completely different teams in the pool that we were in versus what we saw in the other team. Not even from a skill standpoint, but just from the brand that they play, like, totally different than the ones in the central pool.
This is serious drama, Josh, and I don't know if anybody's talking about it anywhere or anything's going on. I'm not sure we're going to get Eli to throw anybody under the bus because he's just trying to keep good face. He doesn't want to, look bad and for all the millions of people that are watching this. But there's some serious drama here that really nobody's talking about. Like, there's some
Let's play out the hypothetical here, Garrett. Let's play out the hypothetical. You're the president of Can West. Do you make a decision to change the standings because that's what's right, and UBCO would pass UBC and it changed the playoff draw, but it's going to cost both teams thousands in plane tickets and travel, and it's going to mess everything up? Or do you just hold it and save that expense? Like, do you do the thing what's right in the standings, or do you try to save these schools money in a COVID year where maybe their budget's already like pretty tight? Like, I could see why it was a tough decision. I didn't know it took till Wednesday.
Am I all powerful in this hypothetical?
Yeah, you're the guy. You're the guy.
I'm all powerful. Then I'm definitely fixing it, making it the right thing, and saying, UBC, you got to pay for it.
That was gonna be my. Idea.
Is it on us for catching this issue way too late? I mean, how often are we supposed to check this? I don't know. But, I mean...
That's a process. That's another layer. I don't know. Is it UEC's job? Is it like the U Sports? Is it Canada West? Like, is there somebody's job who's checking eligibility, academics? Are they a full-time student? Did they flunk something? I don't know who actually checks that.
And, like, who found it? Who found that? Like, it could have been nobody known, right? It might have been better if nobody knew. Because nothing changed, right?
Nothing did change, no.
So, like, maybe it was better if we didn't know this happened. Now we're just pissed.
Yeah, honestly.
Do we know which player it was, Eli? Do we know if it was like a starter or if it was a bench guy?
I do, but again, I don't know if. I don't
Well,
know if
don't
I'm
name a
privy to
name. You don't need
No,
to
no
name the
names.
name.
Names is fine. But was it somebody getting in at garbage time, or was it somebody who was like in the regular rotation?
that. No, meaningful minutes for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that is, it's a bit like, come on, what?
It sets a weird precedent because now anyone caught with an ineligible player in the future, it's like, well, you didn't punish them. They were still second in their division. They still went on to this. Like,
Well, they did get punished, Josh. They took all those L's that didn't change their seed.
Yeah.
I mean, the record books are going to show them having lost. So, I mean, worth it. Huge punishment. If I could lose every game in the regular season and get the first seed or second seed, I'd do it. Like, why do you
Worth it.
care?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't work out for them though. At the end, they ended up losing in the first round anyway. So I guess comes around,
That's-
goes around, I suppose.
That's tough as well. Yeah, because I do see that, like, gosh. So everyone's bitter except the people who are moving on.
Yeah, probably. I guess
Yes.
that's probably how it normally works in the
I'd be
playoffs.
so bitter. And I'll be honest, I'm bitter right now, Eli, because I'm a little bit distracted because I can't even see your face right now. Are you sitting in the dark? Did your power go out? Do we need help there? Okay,
He's
we're
just
okay.
so sad looking at the standings, watching his highlight tape.
Yeah, like I didn't mean to take us down this
devastating.
devastating road, Eli. Like I know we
Reminiscing
lost.
over
Like
my
sorry,
L's.
man. It was a weird year. Let's write it off as just a weird year, but you do have power.
See, I was upset at Canada West, and I was upset at like just the logistics or the planning of this. I didn't know like the human element of this, Garrett, that there are literally teams not knowing their schedule, preparing for playoff matches, meaningful matches, and you didn't know who to scout for. Like that's a lot of wasted hours.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like my comment earlier, like I'm kind of surprised that people take it this seriously. Like, I mean,
Yeah, you weren't that serious when you played.
Well, no, but you're playing pool play in the playoffs. Scouting, they're playing 3 teams. You just scouting. Like, what's scouting? You're playing 3 different teams.
It's like club volleyball all over again.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's what this was, Garrett. This was university club volleyball.
yeah, like you taking your club team to a tournament. You're gonna scout all 8 of the teams or 9 of the teams in the tournament with you on the weekend?
Me and Frank St. Denis would. Your dad
No,
would.
you would not. Shut your mouth. Get off your high horse. Yeah, that other podcast. What do they do? The Coach's Chair podcast or whatever? I bet they
First
would
Pair.
say they would scout it out, wouldn't
Oh,
they?
sure. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Have you been on that podcast?
Yes.
I guess
We gotta have those guys on our show. We gotta return the favor.
Yeah, I
think.
guess I don't.
Well, they took a hiatus during COVID. They just called it. You can still download the episodes, but they haven't released a new one since pre-COVID.
Well, they're getting a shout out on
Was that-
Sharp Cuts.
No free ads. No free ads on the show.
Well, that's a free ad. Do they gonna give you a coffee or something? Because we need that.
Maybe they have a budget. I don't know.
All right. Gracefully segueing out of this, but sort of back into it. So, Eli, I don't know if we briefed you or not. I don't think we did. So I think this is like pure surprise, but maybe you already know. Everybody's favorite segment on this show. We still don't know if it's ever. Comment, if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below if this is not your favorite segment. It's Players of the Week and Clowns of the Week, where we call some people out for doing over and above great things this week who deserve it, and for people doing really terrible things. And as I'm saying this out loud, I'm realizing I'm really not ready with my player of the week. My goodness. So Eli's not ready. I'm not really ready. I'm kind of ready. I'm not that
Lots of
ready.
underprepared.
I have 3 players of the week. Is that bad? Or do I have
No,
to
that's
pick
good.
one?
That's good because you're usually very critical, so it's good for you to share the love this time.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm not going to start then. So why don't you
So-
start?
So genuine.
Well, yeah. What is this? You start then, Big Mouth.
I'll start. Yeah, I'll start.
Yeah. Start.
Friend of the show, he's been on the show before, and they upset UBC. They're into the next round. The Sask boys, I'm going with Morty. Morty had a great game. Dylan, against UBC, 16 kills, 5 aces, 3 blocks, 6 digs. Guy went off. Sask is into the next round. Morty, I can picture Prim in the post-game chat. He's like, oh, Morty did a great job. Morty. Yes, Guy. Dylan Mortensen, player of the week.
I'm laughing because I just know, like, they're all like, oh, here we go again. Yeah, Dylan Mort carrying us to another victory. If you haven't heard that episode, check it out.
Oh, it's a
we
good
chatted with a couple of guys on that team. And, well, I mean, is that like the 4th time you've named him as your player of the week, Josh? Are you like on Sask's bandwagon now? We have a UBCO player here and you're just talking up Sask.
I'm
Man,
on
Morty's
the wagon.
man.
Yeah, like they're still going, and UBCO's out. Like, it's a bit harsh, Josh.
Speaking of wagons, UBCO women, that's a wagon. You can get on that team. Like that, they're doing some big things.
Well, why didn't you name your player of the week from UBCO women?
Because they haven't been on the show yet. If they come on the
International
show,
Women's Day,
maybe
man.
they can get some awards. Is it nepotism if it's like a friend thing, or is that only family? Is it? There's definitely special
Wait,
treatment
you
going on.
trying to
I don't know
ask
what
us
it's called.
smart questions? We don't know answers
I
to.
don't know that.
I'll just call
one.
it special treatment. Anyways,
What, do you think we went to
treatment-
university? No, we only played volleyball. Okay, are you ready to go, Eli, or do you need me to go? Because I'm going to draw it out a lot.
I can give her.
Let's go. Player of the week right now, Eli. Full surprise, no prep for this.
Player of the week for sure. I got to give it to Daniel Thiessen. I don't know if you've seen the box score from his weekend this weekend when we played him, but 25 kills on 56 attempts on the first night, and then following it up with 33 on 64 the following night, and then just a clean 27 on 67 for the third game. So, oh yeah, like this guy is like pure volume, and the ball crosses the net high, and he finds a way to score. Man, that guy's a dude.
That's a lot of volume. Holy.
That is
Hung tough too.
I'm incredibly bitter that he's getting set that much. I would have loved to be set that much. That's some high number of kills and high volume there. So this guy's getting nearly 100 kills in the 3 matches in pool play.
Yeah, no, like it was definitely the most impressive performance I've seen in a 3-game stint.
So they're moving
we
on.
haven't seen a ton of those,
Are they
so-
moving on?
Oh yeah, yeah,
I mean, they better be
Deserve-
if that guy's.
deservedly so, man.
Yeah. Hey, you
sure.
know what? Congrats, Thiessen. Well done, buddy. I mean, we respect the volume, but well, hopefully they can get the job. I don't know what's going to happen, but normally teams with that much volume, they get shut down at some point. I'm speaking from personal experience. Okay. Players of the week for me. Oh, yeah. Did you have something, Eli?
Yeah, I got one more too. I got to give a special shout out to my senior middle who blew his Achilles on game point of our final match. Missed it by that much. Caleb Funk almost got out of there unscathed. He battled back from 2 torn ACLs back-to-back years on the same leg. Came back and played his last year this year, and 22-24 in the 4th against U of M tore his Achilles. So that's my other star of the week, man. That guy's got a battle-tested body, and I'm sure he'll come back stronger than ever. But yeah, tough way to end for sure. But got to shout him
That's a
out.
sad story. Is that his last year?
Yeah, man.
Well, congrats on a great career. Oh, sorry, Josh. Should we not? Oh,
Yeah,
I
what
mean-
an amazing, inspiring,
honestly
epic,
though, 2
epic
torn
career.
ACLs and then a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
That hurts physically
Yeah.
and mentally. In the last point of the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was like mid-rally too, and then there's a post of it on our Instagram if you want to go look at it, but basically the rally kept going for at least 4 or 5 more contacts. The ball went back over the net, they hit it back over, we dug it, chased it down, and then we weren't able to get it over on the 3rd, but they didn't blow the call down.
See, this is the kind of stuff you get in U Sports, Josh, that nobody really sees if you're not in the gym at the time. Like, this type of drama, commitment, like, there's a story here that I'm immediately intrigued by, and really the video. I mean, I gotta go check out the video at some point, but I'm not sure if I want to though.
No, I'm pretty squirmish. I don't want to see injuries, but if anyone wants to send us highlight clips, we'll gladly take credit and repost them.
Will we? Is that?
I don't know if we have the budget for that.
Is
the
it in the
time
budget? Do we have an intern? No. Okay. My players of the week are going to be pretty lame by comparison, actually.
Tough act to follow there. Like, those were some good ones.
Yeah, you guys had some. Oh, self-proclaimed. Good one. Okay. Yeah,
Well,
I
his
think
more than mine, but
my players of the week. I have 3 of them. 2 of them we've already talked about. So first off, Carrie Gagnon. I mean, Carrie, you're a pure beauty. Thank you for commenting again, and thank you for caring about the show and us. You inspire me. I love you. Okay, moving on. Sorry to make it awkward.
congrats
there,
on a
guys.
great career.
Yeah.
Great career.
Yeah.
Awe-inspiring.
Yeah, congrats on a great comment, Carrie. Then my second player of the week has got to be Heather Bansley. I mean, Heather, once again, congrats on a great career. 2-time Olympian. We're gonna miss
Defensive
you, but
Player of
Josh
the
is gonna
Year.
see you every day. Josh is gonna you're probably gonna get fed up with Josh, Heather, but I mean, congrats. And my third player of the week is is a guy we've had a back and forth relationship with on this show because I've called him out as player of the week once. Not me. Somebody else called him out player of the week. Then he was clown of the week by me from a terrible stat line. Turned it around at an epic stat line this past week. It's Evan Filardo from UFT.
Ooh.
I mean, it's been an up and down season. I don't know that. I can only assume. But 26 kills on 49 attempts.
Must have been listening to the pod.
With only 4 errors is a great stat line after going heavily negative in previous matches. And it came in a 3-2 win against Nipissing. I mean, congrats, Evan. I mean, we maybe need to have Evan on the show just to like hear the roller coaster that maybe this season has been. Maybe it's not. Maybe I just picked the 2 strangest games of his year. But anyways, congrats to those 3 players of the week.
And friend of the show, Jasper, he's been out a little bit, so hopefully a speedy recovery and Jasper can come back. But yeah, and Mitchell Newart, I don't think played on the weekend for U of T. So yeah, Evan was carrying the load there to go 26-4. Whew.
Yeah, on 49. Like, it's an efficient, which is not a Garrett May stat line. Because it took me a ton of sets to get that many kills, so he's doing it well. Okay, moving on to also maybe everybody's favorite segment. We're still not sure. Comment down below if this or if it is not your favorite segment. It's Clowns of the Week. And Josh, I was a little bit more prepared for this. I have 2 this week. I just full of it this week. I couldn't decide. I got a self chirp for not being able to really narrow it down to one solid. But are we ready to go for Clowns of the Week? Are we ready to call people out? I love having guests unprepared and forcing them to call someone or something out. It's just my favorite thing.
I get anxiety from this, and I have time to prepare. So
are you actually?
This I don't like this segment. It makes me feel uncomfortable. But yeah.
Well, then you go first.
Okay, my runner-up. They're not the official.
You have 2. You have 2. I love it.
Yeah. I have 2. So I tried to get on the wagon earlier this year, Garrett. I tried to jump on the bandwagon of the Central West Division on the women's side. Like Regina was having a good year. Sask was having a good year. They're not moving on. It's all Alberta and BC teams in the final 6 of Can Sports. So that's my runner-up is just the Central Division as a whole. Like I tried to get on the wagon. It didn't work. But Garrett, the amount of time I spent on my phone watching highlights, looking at box scores, I called out the Canada West playoff format. I was super fanning this weekend going, oh, this team needs to win this team or this team's coming off a 5-setter. I was fanboying hard on the Canada West playoff format. I'm on board. I'm a fan. I called them out. They were my clown of the week before. That now makes me clown of the week because I was super fanning over Canada West playoffs, Garrett.
Well, you're going to be really disappointed with my clown of the week then. So let's unpack that here, Josh, because I feel like what the heck's going on here, man? You call out
12 out of 13 teams were making the playoffs, but when you put playoffs into like this atmosphere, Garrett, this weird format, I'm checking like Thursday who's playing who. I'm checking box scores. I'm waking up the next morning because I couldn't stay up for all the games. Like I got on board in a big way.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, you want to nerd out? Nerd out. That's cool. But your call out and your semi call out of the Can West Central team. So we're talking Sask, Regina, just Sask and Regina?
Winnipeg, Manitoba, like those teams.
Well, I mean, we just talked about how Thiessen, player of the week, he's moving on.
But no, on the women's side is only
you
BC
were
and Alberta
bandwagoning
teams.
hard.
Yeah,
for the Sask women.
I'm off the wagon.
And they did not deliver for you.
They lost 3-0 to Mount Royal. They lost 3-1 to UBCO, and they beat Manitoba, who was also in their conference, 3-1. So the only match they won was another conference team that they already played 18 times this year.
So you bandwagoned hard, and now you're bitter that they didn't deliver for you.
Yeah, it pains me to say, Garrett, but I'm off that wagon.
Well, I mean, enjoy your fall from grace, Josh. I think you named a girl from that team player of the week twice. So, like, yeah. I think
the was a first team Can West All-Stars. So, I mean, confirmation bias. Can West must be listening to the show when they selected their All-Stars.
Are they? We should do our top 10 at the end of this. Okay. Eli, are you ready for the clown of the week, or should I go?
You got it. I'll go
okay.
last.
Yeah, I'll go. We'll save yours for last, right? The best for last. So I have 2 this week again. So, I mean, I love a good technology. I work in video games. I love just a nice tool, like a nice tech thing that works well and is good. I respect it from a user standpoint, but I'm also professional respect. So when something is terrible, it pisses me off to no end. So for that, in that end, I have two clowns of the week. First off, the Volleyball World Pro Beach Tour. Their website is garbage. Straight garbage. It's literally throw it out. You could make it in WordPress. I could do this in 2 days myself and make it look better than what they've got going on here. Yeah, it looks nice, whatever. You want to find a tournament? Good luck. There's like 5 clicks to get to your tournament. Oh, you want to look at the schedule? It's just a picture.
It doesn't exist.
It's just a picture. You can't even click on the event on the schedule. What? Then when you find the events, they're ordered by their level, not a full list of them. You can't peruse the events. You got to tab over to the different types. So when you're trying to find the next event, well, I don't know if it's an elite or a challenge or a future because I got to click on each of them and compare the dates to see which one's coming next. How brutal for fans. Give your head a swivel, Volleyball World. You guys have apparently investment. Figure out your website. So Clown of the Week 1. I was a little bit more heated than I expected it to be. Okay.
I think anyone who's tried to find a beach event or a registration list, they feel the pain, Garrett. That's why I go to fivv.12ndr.at. No free ads.
And my other Clown of the Week, and maybe I should add a third in here, is the Can West playoff format. And by extension, you, Josh, for fanboying over it, because what an absolute hot mess. Are you kidding me? You're going to ask players who've been, had games canceled, shortened season, to play, we've already seen from Eli play 9 games in 16 days. You're going to ask them to play 3 midweek games in a pool play format?
Midweek, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is not midweek. Get your facts straight, bud.
Thursday is midweek.
No, because Wednesday would be the hump, and you're past that. So
yeah, okay. 1 midweek game with some other games. You're asking them to play games during school time, and you're gonna fly away like you're missing school to play this dumbass format in pool play. Even a pool play quarter, then a pool play semi. Is there a pool play final?
I think they bring back everybody from the first round and they play off for the wild card to go to the finals.
There's literally a pool play final. What the hell are we doing? Pool play? It's the worst thing about sports. Nobody gets it. Everybody like, okay, yeah, you got to do it. But we don't have to do this in playoffs. You want to keep things short? 1 game. Cross it over, move on. Yeah, I get the travel thing, whatever, but keep it simple, Can West. Also, you can't find results anywhere on the Can West site and the U Sports site. You can. I did find it, but it is absolutely buried. So, just a large clown of the week.
It's a Final Four. I think it's just semis and finals. I don't think it's a pool play final.
No, there's week 1, week 2, week 3.
First 2 rounds are definitely.
First 2 rounds are. I think the last one is just
third is Final Four. It's 1v4, 2v3 for sure.
Yeah, hold on. So we're gonna do a pool play in the semi to determine the semi, not even to determine the final.
Yes.
What an absolute joke! You're gonna make people travel to 3 potentially different locations to play potentially. How many matches you got to play to win? 8? 9? 5? 7?
3, then 2, then 2.
You got to play 7 matches to win this thing. What? What are we talking about here? You're basically playing every team. 12 teams made the playoffs. You're playing 7 matches? How am I the only one pissed about this, Josh?
Because it's sports, Garrett. We have something to fire up about. It's playoffs.
I'm fired up about how dumb it is.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a 3-way tie in this random pool of 3, and that determines the Final Four. I want somebody to lose to a tiebreaker, Garrett.
Yeah, what the hell are you going to do if it's a tie? Maybe one of these pools of 4. Thank goodness there wasn't a 4-way tie. A 2-2, 2-2. That would be just devastating for everybody, right? What do you do then? It's point differential is what costs you the championship? Point differential, Josh? You like that?
I think we're on pace for that. Ineligible players don't matter. Travel doesn't matter.
Eli, do you have any comment whatsoever? Join my side so we can bury Josh.
It's playoffs, baby.
A nightmare. It's a nightmare. Think about all the 3-way ties that you get for second. You get whatever 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, and 1-2, or 0-3. Whoa. Coming down to points or sets difference? No, thank you.
Oh, I hope it comes down to points. Not even sets
Stop
difference.
it.
I hope it comes down to
You
points
don't hope
differential.
that. Eli's with me. It's 2-on-1. You're wrong, Josh. You don't hope it goes to a tie. Come on. Think of all those amazing careers that will be wasted, and there'll be people saying, hey, congrats on a great career when they lost on point differential, Josh.
Well, right now, the UBCO men have been absolutely jobbed out of a national championship. I want another team to be jobbed out by a 3-way tie. I'm just hoping for it.
Hold on. So you're confirming, like you're going out on a limb that the UBCO men's volleyball team, Eli was their libero this year, was jobbed out of a national championship because of this
they were
format?
playing teams they shouldn't have been playing. They should have been in Edmonton playing against Alberta and Sask and
I'll double
Fraser
down on
Valley.
that with you. Let's go. I'll get on that train. It's gonna
You're
make.
telling me that's not a difference playing against Sask and Fraser Valley than versus playing Calgary, and who else was in your pool? Winnipeg?
Winnipeg and Manitoba.
It's different, Garrett. Different styles. Who knows? This is a big what if. This is a big hypothetical.
I mean, it's not the format that you're talking about. The UBC ineligible player thing, which is
Garrett,
drama.
all the formats are messed. In Ontario, we played the full season, and then 4 had to play 5 to confirm who the true. There can only be one, number 4, and then they go 1, 4, 2, 3. Like,
See,
I don't
that's
know why
dramatic. That's
but why
dramatic.
did that extra match have to exist? We just played the regular season. Why are we tiebreakering the 4 versus 5?
Garrett, I got a question. How would you like rank the teams though, right? If we all only just play within province, how would you go 1 versus whatever 16, 2 versus 15? Like, what's your plan with that when you have 3 teams?
I agree.
Like, the entire East Division's 8 and 8.
I agree. It's a weird situation, but this is what I would do: is I would first of all give my head a shake, because if we're worried about COVID, so we separated the provinces, then we decided, let's bring one team from each division together and really just commingle all those germies.
Make them
into
get
the
on an
same
airplane
place.
before they play.
You know?
Yeah.
We separated provinces for safety, but now we're going to bring them all together deliberately from one from each. Okay,
Because
what the
airports
heck?
are the safest place to travel to.
Yeah,
right now.
I think you have 2 options. I think you go like full record top to bottom, which isn't perfect for sure. There's a lot of complaining there, but you could do that and just go, 1-8 or whatever, cross over there. Or you could find a champion from each of the regions and give one of the regions with the best record a second. And again, that's also not perfect, but it does force you to beat the teams you've already beaten in a playoff format to move on, which would be consistent with their, like, we're keeping it in province instead of like totally changing it up. Neither of those are perfect, but at least like we don't have to force everybody to play all these weird matches.
What if we found a neutral site, like let's say Ryerson University, like walking distance for me, and we did a March Madness tournament. We only play 2 out of 3s, Garrett, because we don't want to wear them out. But we just go March Madness all the way down. Everybody makes playoffs in the Canada West, but I get to watch it in the comfort of Toronto. I think that would be the best format.
Yeah, I think you're full of it. What? Ryerson. Random, you're gonna make all these teams.
Ryerson, 2 out of 3s.
Who's paying
and we
for
just,
We'll give everybody a coffee at Tim Hortons, but
Yes.
only because Roll Up is on right now and everyone's a winner.
Somebody's
So-
due to win that, yes.
So we just buy it, but we say, actually, you got to give us back the Roll Up because we need that.
I think
It's actually
strength of
ours.
conference, number of games, it was tough to separate. I got on board. I still think it's a little too inclusive.
Okay, well, that's my clown of the week, Josh, and by extension, you. And you said you were your clown of the week,
Yeah.
so I'm just agreeing with you. So,
Confirmed.
great clown of the week. We still need Eli's clown of the week, though, so we gave you lots of time to think about it, Eli.
All right, I got 2.
Yes.
My first one, my first one is another guy from UW, Nigel Nielsen.
Nigel.
These guys, UW had us dead to rights in the 4th set. They just came up and beat us. We like choked the 3rd set, and these guys go up 5 in the 4th, and he just starts talking, starts running his mouth. And this guy's been, he's been our serving target the whole time. Like, this guy's beat it off the antenna about 4 times like prior. Like, and our team doesn't generally engage too much. Like, our bench always has something to say, but like normally speaking, like we don't really talk a lot of stuff through the net. And I just see my captain go up the net. He starts saying something, and from there on, basically, this guy kept on talking to us. And I don't really like it when guys talk when they're up. You know what I mean? Like, I think it says a lot about a person. If you're talking crap and you're down 1 set and that sort of stuff. But this kid waited all the way to the 4th set to start talking, and basically, I made it my mission from there on to make sure to let him know that wasn't going to happen. And his game went downhill. I don't think he had a particularly great weekend in general. So that's my first clown, because I don't have a lot of love for guys that talk when they're up. It says a lot about who you are.
Just got incredibly real on this show, Garrett.
Yeah, I mean, that's a legit clown of the week. And to be honest, I can see myself doing that, Josh, because I'm not a talker, right? Like, I never was. I guess maybe I would be now. I don't know. But I'm not a talker. So, like, I'd be super nervous to, like, talk and then lose. Like, that's the embarrassment piece, right? Like, you don't want to chirp and then lose, because now you look like an idiot.
Don't poke the bear.
So, like, if you're going to talk, the safest time to talk for your own ego is when you're winning. So I get it, but also I just had a rule, like, don't talk if you're not a talker. Like, if you're not talking the whole game, don't talk at all, type thing, like, turn it on or turn it off. Don't be like halfway with that thing. So, I mean, hey, that's a legit shot across the bow, and we respect it here on Sharp Cuts.
And then my second one, actually another friend of the show, Tommy Boy. I got a call out for Tom because they could have helped us up by beating Winnipeg, and I got to question some of those setting decisions down the stretch, man. Got to go with your big horse. Went away from his middle and Hamish. I don't know.
So hold on.
Thought about setting in the flow.
So
listen to that pod.
They win that, and you advance.
But it would have led to Winnipeg being 1-2. But then, honestly, when we lost to U of M, that would have led to the perfect three-way tie that you guys are talking about. 1-2 three-way tie.
Sora.
So hold on. They're like in a tight
Tom,
game. You got to set the scene for us, because this is amazing as well. So they're in a tight game. They're already through. They've won twice.
Yeah. So they were 2-0 going into Saturday, and whatever, first set rolls around and we're watching and we're feeling pretty good because Tom's running a sweet offense. He's finding his middles really good. They got two pretty explosive guys out of the mids that just were teeing off for the most part. And second set rolled around, and I think they started committing a little more, but he started trying to find Hamish on the right, and Hamish was teeing off too, but Winnipeg just digs the hell out of the ball, man. Like, their perimeter defense is on another level. And I think he just kept on going to Hamish, and I think it kind of just came down to him and Thiessen going one-on-one in the end, and Thiessen obviously put up 27 and got them through that on 67 sets. So I would have said, Tommy Boy, set your middles a little more. That would have helped us out.
Oh my God. This is the realest Sharp Cuts has ever been, Josh.
Oh, yes.
And I
absolutely.
have to back it 100%. I fully agree. Tom Sora, clown of the week. What are you doing? Like, your middles are teeing off. You got physical guys. Give Hamish a bit of a relief, like, when they know it's going there every time, it just stacks up the pressure. And if you got to go 27 on 60 to compete, like, you have to do that now to be that's too much pressure, man. Like, if you ask me to do that, hey, Garrett, you got to get 27 kills on 60 sets this match for us to win, I'd be like, I'll try, but, like, holy, that's a high standard to hold to.
Might
right?
need a couple more sets.
I did need a couple more sets. I think I was never getting over 50.
And it was the third match of the weekend, and he was hitting over 40 sets the previous games, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Try over 50 in all three.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that's nuts. Get some middle action in there. Maybe they couldn't pass. Like, could they not pass plays? Should we clown of the week the passers, or is it all on Tom? Did they have the passes?
I think it was on and off, man. I think Tom's a great setter, so
so he should have found a way, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right. You got to make it happen, man.
Yeah, you got to run that shoot from the back line, no question. Like, get it done, Tom. Come on. I respect it. Wow, like another well-rounded clowns of the week here, guys. I mean, respect and players of the week. That segment went on for a while. It sparked some discussion, Josh. Should we? I mean, I feel like this is a show right now.
I feel like because it's growing in popularity, it's everybody's favorite segment, that he was prepared, Garrett. He went in on a couple guys that were like Jake and Russ last week. They kind of let me down a little bit with knowing what Eli can bring here. This is good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, those guys obviously didn't deliver, like, strong clowns of the week. Like, I mean, I don't know what we were expecting. Like, in players of the week, random guys nobody knows with no story, just good guys. Like, I mean, I get it, but come on. Yeah. Step your game up, Like, let's go. It's Sharp Cuts we're talking about here. All right. Segueing, not so gracefully, into some other stuff that we wanted to talk about. We got a libero on the show. And, I mean, we've had liberos on the show before, but we've never really talked to libero because Josh and I mean, Josh is not. I mean, you're a libero body type, Josh. Sorry, I just stumbled into that one. I mean, you got the body of a libero. I don't know. Eli might say that's a compliment.
Whatever lets you roll around better, I guess, right?
Yeah, like you can imagine yourself being in the libero's position, Josh, because you got the height to be a libero. You know how they say you have a face for radio? Yeah, you've got the height to be a libero.
Thanks for podcasting.
Anyway, we never talk libero, and I think based on what we've said here, for obvious reasons, I mean, we don't speak the language, but we do have a libero on. So I'm just curious because I think we asked when we had those SAS guys on, I asked, like, what do you even do? What do you prepare? Like, what are you watching video? You're a libero, which was maybe a bit of a shortcut for me. So, Eli, can you maybe defend the whole position, from us, really, who... Well, Josh should get it.
Don't even skip any details. Like, do you even warm up? Like, what does a libero do before the game?
Man, when I was younger, like for my first 4 years, my whole warm up was I would juggle volleyballs around. Like I would just do them walking across the court, and I would just throw them at my teammates as they'd warm up. Like I would just do a high kick here, high kick there, juggle some balls. Like, and then when they'd go block, our coach would hit at me, and that was my warm up.
That's kind of a joke warm up.
It was a joke, man. Like man.
So sorry.
24
you
now,
juggled.
I'm not the same.
You juggled like a circus performer, like a clown.
Clown?
Yeah, pretty much. I kept it real loose, I'm sure.
I mean, you would.
We had a bit of an older team that year, or for those first couple years too, where they I don't think they enjoyed that too much, but. That was my thing, at least when I try to get ready, is I try and just stay light. You know what I mean? I feel like the more serious you get about a game, or the more tense it gets, like that's when you're at your worst, man. Like when you're playing just free and flowing around, like, and just letting the game come to you, like that's when the best plays come, for sure.
I mean, you do make a good point with there that I would agree with, but I also think saying your warm up was kind of just light and you juggled and then the coach hit at you is not really a strong defense for the seriousness of the position. Given that you could do that and then perform at a high level, like it didn't actually require that much focus.
A lot of like, well, I would argue that I think basically as a libero, all the work is pretty much done behind the scenes, man. You know what I mean? Like once you show up and put your shoes on, it's time to go, right? Like you got to know what's going on in front of you beforehand, right? Like it's just minor adjustments from there on out, right? Like the real prep in video is just getting ready for, servers. What are you going to do? Whether it's like you look at the tendencies, if they can't serve the line right, you're going to move your rotation or reception group to the right, that sort of thing. Like, so I don't know. And that's just, you make your game plan beforehand. But once you get there, it's like, I'm just here and I'm generally pretty free and comfortable because I know I've done, pretty much, I know what I'm doing, getting on the court when come game time. So
that is interesting that you talk about video because I never really looked at video that much and would assume that a libero wouldn't really have much to gain from video. Oh, this guy does this serve. Like I need to see one serve. Like that's all it needs.
As a scout, that kind of bothers me. Are you telling me there's guys in the Can West who can't serve down the line? Like there's guys who have like one serve?
Oh, I don't doubt that.
You'd be shocked, man.
I wouldn't be shocked. Are you kidding me?
Well, you just hit your best serve, Gary. You just go from 5 to 5. Doesn't matter if it's their P1 and standing there, their P2, whatever rotation they're in. I'm going to serve to 5.
Well, but you watch beach players all the time, Josh, and you don't see people with every shot. They have 2 or 3 that are deadly, and they work between them, and then maybe go to the other side.
Serves.
Well, yeah, serves. If my best serve is like from serving from 1 to the 1-6 seam on the other side, I'm going to hit that, I don't know, 80% of the time and then mix it up with maybe I hit it in the 5-6 or maybe I cut it sharper. If I don't ever need to come down the line and still be successful, like that's not surprising to me.
It's very limiting. I think if Garrett May's standing in 1, we're serving to 5. Like you shouldn't have got a lot of balls at Western. I don't know why guys can only hit their best serve and that's their only serve no matter what rotation the other team's in. That seems like nonsense to me. Like,
well, it is shocking, and I mean it sounds like Eli can attest like the limitations of even really good servers, right?
Yeah, no, I think definitely everybody's got their go-to, right? But I think the guys that are the best servers in our league for sure have just that little bit of variety, right? Like your guy like Jesse Alzer who can basically rip it all over the court coming from 5, but he's also got a really, really well hidden shorty down to like short 1 serve as well with that cutty. And I don't know, other than that, you just see a lot of guys I feel like who just, like they go up and grip it and rip it, and like they have a little bit of a range of where, they're going, whether it's like a couple, either 5-6 seam or 5-6, yada, yada, yada. But, you don't really see a lot of people who can like just spray it all the way over to 1 if they can't get it to 5. Like it's pretty predictable. And then you make your plan from there.
With the serves you're facing, like a lot of spin serves, it trended internationally for a while, and it's definitely hit Canada where guys are serving the ball with a ton of hook on it now, right? Like you look at Colton at EBC and a bunch of other guys, like they're not hitting a down ball like on a clock from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock anymore. Like it's cutting across the court. Like, are you finding that's trending right now in Can West for a lot of guys?
Yeah, definitely a lot more cutty action from all the serves. But I mean, like, I don't know if you guys have talked about it, but the change of ball is massive. Right, like the old Mikasa to this Mikasa is a completely different game when it comes to float serve passing, as well as what kind of guys are able to actually get good hand contact on it. Right, like those old Mikasas that you have, those things were pure knuckles if you hit them with float, and if you didn't have perfect hand contact, you'd have fake topspin. Like it would just the ball would be moving over top of itself, but it's not dropping anything. Right, like now you see like every middle in the league's trying to spin serve, right? Because they're all so high and they can just hit it downwards, and you get the nice snap. Like these balls are a lot closer to like the Moltons, right? They're very forgiving with people who have less than perfect hand contact.
Interesting.
So I think that's why you see that.
Do you think that's why FIVB is like manufacturing that Mikasa's getting this ball to like favor spin because they see that's the trend, Josh? Like, are we finding a conspiracy theory here?
I think we are, and I think everybody should just play with the Molten.
That was the
If we wanna
calmest discovery of a conspiracy ever, by the way.
If we get more fans for our sport, it's going to come from the Molten, because I saw it the most in college, Garrett, where like different divisions would play with like the Mikasa or different balls. But when you went to nationals and everybody's playing with the Molten, man, a ton of guys who weren't spin servers were all of a sudden spin serving.
Yeah, but like as a fan, pretend you're a fan who knows nothing. Shouldn't be that hard for you. Sorry, they just come up as I'm going. Pretend you're a fan who knows nothing. It shouldn't be that hard for us. What's the most exciting thing to watch? Like, do you want to watch a guy go and put up a knuckler with the float and have somebody try to like forearm pass it and shank it off? Like, or do you want somebody to crush it and have a guy dive and still keep it alive? And now there's some drama there.
See, if that was happening, I'd be on board with you. But as soon as we mentioned the Molten, I caught myself where, have you watched NCAA like mid-level men's volleyball? They're missing like 13 serves each a set. Like that's bad volleyball. I would rather somebody dink a float serve in that at least initiates like play.
Well, Eli's happy when he's seeing those missed serves, I guess.
Yeah.
What would you rather see as a libero? Like, will you prefer taking that hard spin? Like, because sometimes those are a lot easier, especially if you're saying these guys who everybody's a spin server now. Well, I'll pass that up easy.
Well, let's give Eli some credit that he actually plays serve, receive, and digging. That the libero position wasn't specialized enough, Garrett. That we had to divide it into two, and now
honestly,
there's a defensive
let's
guy
get into
and a
that.
serve, receive guy.
Let's get into that. I'm bored of serving because honestly, that I'm fired up about. What the actual hell are we doing to the sport of volleyball with this two libero thing? Or maybe Eli, you think it's a good thing?
I don't get it really. I feel like I don't know. I don't think specialization is the play in volleyball at all at any age, and even at the oldest. Like I think we need to develop more well-rounded volleyball players anyway. Doesn't make any sense.
Like, have you guys ever done the two-lip system?
Not in my time.
Or did you go to your coach and be like, "This is a joke. I can dig and pass"?
Oh, I
please."
would be doing that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I think I was just fortunate enough to never really have that situation.
Like, I can't think,
was...
like, are you telling me that passing and digging are not close enough that the person who's best at one would not also be the person who's best at the other?
See, that's interesting, though. What do you, okay, so actually I have a question for you guys, for you non-libs, but, so if you had to list like the, whatever, I don't know, 3 or 4 skills that would be most important for libero in the pecking order of which it would be most important to least important, what would it be for you?
Passing, digging, setting, in that order for me.
Setting, you normie over there with your setting libero. No, passing and digging. I don't even need to think of any others. Like, that's what you do.
See, like, because I totally agree in the reception part, but I think that, at least I've found in my time, at least, where as a lib, like the second most important thing is making sure that you're a great communicator. And I think that making sure that you're relaying information from coach to player, talking about what you see on the block, communicating what the game plan is moving forward. Like, I think that trumps defense, because I think the majority of the time, like, volleyball is a losing battle when the ball isn't touched off the block to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, the best liberos in the world are the best receivers in the world. I don't know if the best liberos in the world are great diggers, right? Those guys don't make it.
Should have known he was a rah-rah guy based on his clowns of the week, Garrett. This is what he's into. He's into firing guys up.
I don't mind where you're taking it, Eli, because I do kind of agree. Like, when you think about the ball moving that fast, how many digs are you really expecting to make? Like, when you're young.
He got 20 in one game this year.
Well, but it counts as a dig if it goes off the block and you play it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's up for interpretation depending on the gym you're playing
Right,
at,
yeah, for sure. Sometimes they count free balls as digs, which, I mean, then you're going to rack up dozens, right? But I do like where you're taking it, where the reception part is number one, because that's really what you do a lot. Where digging, it's like, the gains you're going to make, or maybe make one extra dig a match if like the better guy, which is like maybe crucial, but maybe you don't even win that point anyway. Whereas the passing, the communication though, like, and I've said this before, and I may be not common in my belief on this, but it's like, yeah, for sure that's helpful, but like, there's only so many different things you can do in volleyball, in my opinion. Like, there's only so many different things that you need. Like, if you're a great communicator, your passing line, and you're going to move them around, and the other servers, that's going to help you for sure. But also, you're going to shift left, you're going to shift right, you're going to watch the short. Like, how really complicated are we getting with that stuff?
Definitely, I would say probably a little more complicated than maybe what you were doing back in your time. But I think in general, like, there's more than just a left seam, right seam, right? Like, you work with two different depth, right? You're either taking behind or in front, and there's a lot more communication in that sense from like what you see from the serve going in. But then even
don't you find that overcomplicates it though? Like, if you got in front seam, I got back seam. Now it's in the middle. Now we're adding a second seam here, the vertical seam and the horizontal seam, and now we're really breaking it down super granularly. It's like, keep the ball off the floor type thing.
Yeah, it's easy, but like, what if you're in one and some guy's ripping a corner to corner serve with some serious pace, and you're the guy who's taking right seam in 6? If he's ripping it at your head and it's deep, like, that's a super hard pass to get on your right shoulder and keep your shoulders down to the target, versus then if you're working in a more of a front right seam for the guy in 6 and a back left seam for the passer in 1, then he can dive across and make sure that he's taking that ball on his left side and dropping his shoulders and being able to bring it back to the target.
Maybe it's just a reflection of I took every seam that I was ever playing, because no, I don't trust you. You're not gonna. I'm taking this seam. Like, get out the way.
You have a very good libero or something like that. I don't know, man.
We went 2-man pass in the semifinal and quarterfinal at the national championships. Like, it wasn't exactly a perfect process here. We're talking. So I guess maybe that's my expectation for the league is much lower, right? Everybody likes to push the level higher, and I guess I gotta respect that, Josh. Like,
I mean, that was more than 5 years ago, Garrett. I think we've established that nobody cares about anything that happened in you. Sports volleyball more than 5 years ago. But Eli, have you guys ever done a 2-person serve receive?
Once in a while. Like, I'm not a big fan of two-man. Like, I would rather show 3 and then pull a guy late kind of thing and use him as bait to pass. Like, that's more my style. I don't really like standing up.
That'd be my role, Garrett. I'd be the bait guy.
No, you're libero. You're a bait guy as the libero? Because there's no way you're playing another position.
I actually set in my 4th year for a couple games. I revamped my high school setting career, but generally speaking, no. We just either, a lot of teams with their floats are trying to take out the front row hitter, that sort of stuff, right? Hold them in until they start their toss and approach, and then just get them to either move out or get out of the way or whatever and fill that spot.
Yeah, see, I like that.
Happen a lot in Can West. I see that a lot in the OUA where they stack the screen a little bit. I don't think many refs are calling that ever. No,
man. It's we see a ton of screens now, like even to a point where like the guys in the back row have their hands up in the air and that sort of stuff. And they used to call it a couple years ago. Like I took whatever, a year off and then COVID as well before I came back. So, but those first 4 years, they were much more keen to call it. Like I remember we lost a point because of it once, actually, my second year. But not anymore. They don't call anything anymore. I don't know.
Honestly, Strange. It's kind of one of the guttiest things about our sport that is just generally accepted that you do. Like a lot of top teams, like who are actually good, spend the time to line up and remember where their guy is serving from and where he's serving to set up the screen. Like, what a dorky thing to do, to be honest. You get a bunch of big, tall goons with their hands up, knowing exactly where the serve's going to go, and the guy's ripping it. It's like, that. A, it's not allowed, but B, like, come on, like, you really going to do that?
If you need to do that to feel like you have a chance to win, like, that's just, I don't like it.
Did you guys do that at UBC, Eli? Are we calling you out here too?
He probably memorized the screen, Gary. He's a big rah-rah guy. He's probably moving the screen around.
We definitely try to screen, but a lot of the time, like, it depends if our coach is calling in serves or not. Otherwise, if guys are going best serve, you just park yourself in the middle of the court and just try and take as much space as possible.
Yeah, like everybody just does it. And it is against the rules, Josh. Like you can't do it.
And like,
right?
where does it, like, where's the gray area, right? Like, when do we step over the line, right? Like, what's too much of a screen? Is it like when we have guys standing on each other's backs?
Three or four criteria you have to have, and I think most refs interpret it that as soon as the athlete is jump serving, that the passer shouldn't have lost sight of the ball, and they won't ever call it on a jump serve. Like, it has to be low to the net, it has to be over the screen, it has to be all these things that, I don't know, it just doesn't get called very often.
That's BS because you see some guys have the low toss spin serve, like that quick approach spin serve, and you don't know when they're coming. Like, that is a real thing. Maybe when guys are like getting their shirts out and like raising their shirts to like really spread out the space is when it's really gone too far.
I think like I would say it's like I feel like they let it go more too now because we see so many people trying to hand pass these balls now, right? And it's like when you stand closer to the net, that screen becomes so much more effective, right? Just because of from like peripheral not being able to see it. So like I feel like if I was a ref, like the reason why I wouldn't call it is because I'm not going to reward some Gronk who's 6'8" and can overhead press 225 pounds who's just going to go manhandle this ball as soon as it comes over the net. Like that guy needs more of a challenge. But obviously that's speaking as a libero who tries to play
I know Josh agrees
so.
just because you said the word Gronk. Like that's an immediate +1 from Josh.
You're a big Gronk guy, or?
I dropped it on this show, and Garrett, I don't think has ever heard it, so he makes me repeat it every time it comes up. I think Gronk describes people who look like ogres, Garrett. What do you want me to call him, Shrek? I
mean, it's an insult, though. Like, we're naming a group of people who we haven't really named, but just big ogres.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down. But let's not mince words here. Like, let's go right to ogre. Why we gotta sugarcoat it with Gronk?
Because Gronk could be like seen as cool because of Rob Gronkowski. Like, I think there's some people who take
it's a passive aggressive insult.
Yeah, because I don't want them to chokeslam me.
True, they're ogres.
Yes.
Eli, are you a hand pass guy or are you a forearm pass guy?
Oh,
I'm definitely forearm pass for sure.
Yes, my guy, let's go.
I can't, like, I don't know. I had a pretty gnarly thumb injury on the first week of my junior national team, and I've just had like ligament damage from that ever since then. And I don't know. I've never really had the urge to really try and learn it. Like most of the time, I'm good enough with my arms, so I feel like it's a skill I'd like to acquire, but like after that injury, I'm just like it scares the shit out of me sometimes. Sorry,
I hear that. I mean, playing through club, my dad was our coach, and we were not allowed to hand pass. Now, when people hear me say that, I think they assume, oh, the rules said you couldn't hand pass, because that is a rule on the OVA. But no, this was before the rule. My dad imposed the rule on our team that we couldn't ever hand pass. Free balls, nothing. We just weren't allowed. We ran suicides, end lines if we did it, which is pretty intense.
That explains your success at the beach level. You know, because you're so used to not having to play with your hands anyway. Like, it makes sense. Your dad was just looking out for you.
He was looking out for us big time. And when I got to university, like on those really tough flat floats, I always found that like trying to get your hands on it if it was to your side was way more difficult than just using your like stepping back and using your platform. You had more time to see the ball kind of develop. And I always just laughed out loud when you're playing a game and you see a guy try to like hand pass a ball in like a shoulder position here because it's just so fast and flat and they can't get to it. I always thought, oh, you look like such an idiot.
There's so many guys that like tend to do it. Like you see like those guys that are like really strong with it, and then you get like the other ones with the dudes who just like fully like catch it and throw it. But it's like it's pretty fluid though, right? Like and that I understand, but I'm the same way. Like anything that's like to the right of my head, I'd rather turn my hips to the wall and try to get my shoulders to the target kind of thing.
Josh, I feel like you're a hand pass guy though. You're staying awfully quiet. You're not piling on. Are we burying you here?
I've seen teams use it as an advantage. Like when I think of McMaster and Steve Meyer, like tippy-toe in the attack line and just like chucking it, like it can't be a double, right, by the laws of our sport. So I see guys use it as an advantage, but it is pretty ugly to watch sometimes. Yeah,
what a weird sport we're playing, actually. Like, you can't double on the first one? Like,
what a weird rule.
Yeah, like, that's a segment for another time. Weird rules.
Who thought of that one?
Yeah, like
what would have prompted that?
Yeah, like, you're okay to kick it off your own face on the first contact because it can't be a double. It's percussive. Right. Like, how is that allowed? What if somebody really took advantage of that and was like, really egregiously doubled on the first contact for huge advantage.
Like, tried to spin it as much as they could.
I don't know how you would do it, but like maybe like you just double on purpose as like misdirection, but you got so good. It's not possible. I don't know.
Off the hands, off the head, redirection, 2-ball. Header.
That's a beach play waiting to happen right there, Josh. Like it's a free ball or something, and you like go to volley it, but instead you just like head it over.
Right, because you wouldn't have to be square.
Your hands though, right? So it's like you can test the double rule.
Yeah. See, this deserves more discussion to give Josh some.
Does it?
It does. We got to give you some. We got to give you some shady tactics, Josh, to take away here. Okay, from libero's perspective, because as we've established that you've got a body of a libero. So,
thank you.
It's a compliment. What?
Is it?
It is. You're shredded.
Are libero shredded?
Are you shredded?
No to both.
Anyways, we've digressed significantly, and we've gone well over time. So, I mean, we got to get to closing the show, but I have to ask, Eli, thanks for joining us. But, I mean, hey, what'd you think of the show?
Man, it's awesome, man. Anytime I get to talk ball with guys that like to talk ball, it's a good time. Maybe Garrett, again, like, the under preparations, a couple podcasts in a row that guys seem to be on you. Like, I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, but I'll pass on the same message that Colton said. Just, just a little more prepared, a little more professional.
I mean, I'll take that feedback. I mean, this is the point of asking how the show went, is to do the debrief of the episode still in the episode. But maybe I should just tell people that I prepared a ton for the episode and really just change perspectives. But then if it's a terrible episode and I say I prepared a lot, everyone's going to go,
we're going to lose a lot of credibility with our fan.
You prepared for this?
The trouble is if you went ahead and did that with this one, right? Like your two stars of the week, you had already talked about at the start of the show, like really just kind of like revamping the same thing twice.
Recycling old content.
Like two call outs. Like, I don't know.
What kind of knob does that? I mentioned Carey twice and now 3 times on the show. Like, does he deserve that? Yes, he absolutely deserves that. I mean, I'm not going to take that back. I'm not going to take that back. Yeah, he deserves that. So, I mean, thanks for your feedback, and thanks for coming on the show, man. I mean, it's always great to, like you said, talk with folks who like to talk ball, and we like to talk ball. So, we complained a lot in this episode, but I feel like we solved absolutely nothing as normal. Anything you want to say before we sign off, Josh?
Well, thanks for, listening. If they made it this far, thanks so much. Leave a comment. If you're on the podcast, give a 5-star review. Just keep it coming.
Thank you, listener.
Thank you, listener.
Thank you, Eli, for joining us. Appreciate having you around. Josh, thanks for joining as always. And that'll do it for this one, everybody. So we'll see you next time.